This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics. I'm Roby Brock, joined by John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Good to see you, as always.
Good to be seen.
Every Monday morning is always off to a good start, engaging with you.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way, and I feel the same. Isn't that nice?
It is.
A nice exchange.
I know. All right, it ends there. Let's get
a human
to the,
connection. Yeah, let's get to it.
Okay, let us begin. Late last week and over the weekend, State Senator Stephanie Flowers of Pine Bluff becomes an overnight national viral sensation from her response to the debate being cut off on a stand your ground law in the state. How interesting was this to watch this play out for you, and how surprised were you by the reaction to it?
On a scale of 1 to 10 on interest, 14. On a scale of surprise, 1 to 10, 14. It was, this was remarkable. We've seen Senator Flowers a time or two erupt in anger and very forceful, powerful presentations. The last time was in 2017 on the issue of guns, like this one. What happened here, apparently, is that two of the conservative legislators that she was particularly criticizing, Trent Garner and Bob Ballinger, were on social media that night posting or referring to, at least, if not themselves, referring to video of her explosion against them as if it was going to be embarrassing to her and would require some Senate sanction about her language and her deportment. And within 24 hours, the story was quite different than that. She was, as you say, not just a national viral sensation, but a national hero to angry people who are angry about guns, or angry about the political condition. And it took an entirely different turn. And I, for the first time in 15 years, when she's of Senator Flowers being in the legislature, I called her and left a message, and she got back with me the next day, and it's the first time in 15 years I've ever spoken to her.
You explained why that is. It's because she has not been on any signature legislation. And
well, the way I've covered the legislature for years, largely, and it's worked for me because I'm, still doing it, and it worked. But you figure out who the players are who influence legislation, and you develop relationships, and you try to track it. There are a whole bunch of, there are 135 personal stories out there, though, and about half of them I've had no interest in finding out or telling or even talk. Don't talk to these people.
Sometimes you don't have time to get to all of them.
No, and she was not a leader in policy making. Never has been. She which is no discredit to her as a person. That's just the way that the legislative culture, the insularity of that culture works. But this, of course, forced her into the forefront. And I was on the phone with her, I think, an hour, Friday afternoon. And it was largely her soliloquy, and I'm going to write about it tomorrow. We're talking Monday. It's going to be tomorrow's column. She asked me to hold off until she perhaps does a moment of personal privilege on the Senate floor today to say something, but not apologize for her language, because, as she said, and she plays, listen to this. She said, listen to what's come in just since we've been talking. I don't know what they are, but here are some voicemails. Floridian, you're my hero. Massachusetts, you're my hero. I work for Fox TV in Baltimore. Probably shouldn't be saying this, Senator, but you are my hero. Thank God somebody finally said that. That's what's been going on. So
let's break down what she
said.
At the core of what she was talking about is a perspective of a black woman with a black son who is treated different in the gun culture of Arkansas, is the essence of what she talked about. Break that down for me.
It's a little more than that. It's that not only her black son, whose life she feared for on a daily basis in his town and in the gang and violent culture in which he was brought up in Pine Bluff. Her sister was shot dead in college. She told me she does not remember going to that funeral. It's a psychiatric coping thing that you do. Sometimes you shut it out. So she's had that pain. She told me that when Senator Garner talks about his military service and as a factor in his gun proliferation support, that she had two brothers who were in military service, and she visited one at Fort Roots Hospital, and he was on Thorazine, and at that point she's becoming very emotional, and she's saying, this country is for black people too. She's saying that to me over the phone. That's all, she says, this is all what's in me, and it comes out on this issue. And she was basically saying, you folks who don't understand, who live entirely different places and entirely different cultures and entirely different demographic, you don't know this story. And you're down here talking about how guns are great. Guns aren't great, and I can't take it anymore. And she explodes. That's exactly what happened. And she said words she probably, under Senate rules, she shouldn't use. But I'm telling you, it was a genuine, powerful, emotional, honest reaction, and it has resonated. Ironically, what set her off was the very idea that you would limit debate. There was a motion to limit debate. Mm-hmm. This committee had been meeting for hours. They were into their fourth hour. It was night. It was 7:38, and a person who's on our side on the gun legislation, Will Bond, made a motion to limit debate. He looked around and he said, we're going to still be here at 9 o'clock. Let's give everybody 10 minutes on the side, and then so we'll have a target and we'll get, that's all he meant. Mm-hmm. He didn't mean I don't want to talk about this anymore. He also had sized up the room and thought that side might prevail. She doesn't, that process is not her interest. The very idea, limit debate on this, when children are dying, that's what got her. And to talk with her it's an overdue lesson for me. Mm-hmm. I mean, that there are a lot of powerful human stories. Also, politics is no more about consensus and legislative effectiveness. Right now, in this era, it's about everybody being angry and disaffected and resentful and fearful in the margins. That's where it is, and she captured that. This entire incident captured that.
Let's progress to, I guess Governor Hutchinson's got 3/4 of his major 4 pieces of legislation through. At least the highway legislation will get signed this week, which leaves just government transformation to go here. You think that's a layup?
Yeah. It may be a bit of a finger roll. He may go in for a layup here in one chamber or the other and have to do a little finger roll.
Okay.
You got what I mean?
That's a good one there.
Yeah. Well, it's also that's in fitting with March Madness. And,
yeah, I like it.
It's I can't say it's not a big deal to transform government from whatever number of cabinet level agencies we've now fallen out into to 15, because I have spent my life talking about the great reformer Dale Bumpers, taking it back to 17 from 100 back in 1971. So and any time you're moving an agency you're not moving an agency, what you're doing is changing the way many regulatory processes are organized. And you get farmers worried about that. You get people in various businesses worried about how they're going to fall out and who's going to be in charge. So it's not a free throw. It's not a layup, but it's a shot he's going to make. We're going to get this done. The mood is right. Plus, you don't bet against Asa with this legislature. He gets what he wants.
He gets 4 for 4 on that one there.
He does.
All right. Lastly, let's talk about there was a little bit of movement last week on ballot issues, what may be referred from the legislature. I think the consensus has been that we would have a highway issue referred, we would have tort reform referred, and we would have maybe a reform of the ballot initiative process. Tort reform seems to be being replaced now with a mood by legislators to put a term limits proposal out there. Are you surprised by that?
Yes. On 1 to 10, about an 11 on that.
not quite
not a
14,
but an 11. Yeah, I think if you went back in the archive of our discussions, I think one Monday I said highways for sure and tort reform is a cinch. I mean, why not? I mean, the Republican legislator, conservative legislator, and to pare it back to simply limiting damages. But I'm told this morning, and your website reported last week, it's fallen apart largely, and it's probably not going to come out, tort reform, because it's become contentious, and it's It's this fight between your mainstream Republicans and your far-right Republicans, and how far do you go, and which damages do you limit, and what else do you put in it? And then there are people who just, and then the leadership, I think, has said, okay, if y'all are going to fight about this, we got other things to fight about.
Yeah,
and,
I think there is a move
that
a term limits initiative is going to come this time around, like it did last time. It just got kicked off the ballot last time.
Yeah, and what that's about is, as I'm told, legislators are thinking, if we don't do something about preemptively ourselves on term limits, we're going to get the kind of thing that we nearly got last time, which is thrown off the ballot, which is gets us out of here quick, and a very onerous term limit. So there's always the threat we're going to bog down in the detail on this, because a current proposal, the one that's probably the front runner, also would presume to limit judicial terms. And then it would say you could do, I think it says, you can serve your 12 years maybe, and then leave and then start another 12 years.
Come back in, I think, 4 or something like that, yeah. There's a little bit of a gap, and then you get to come back.
And then you got people saying, why are we going to put something out that people are going to recoil against? So
Putin did that in Russia, didn't he? He was president for 2 terms, and then left and came back.
Right, yeah, that's a very good, that's a very good.
I don't think that's happening in the States.
They're probably not going to use that as an example, but that's not done either. The referring the half cent is done, and I think making it harder for people to do the initiative and referendum, restricting the time and tightening up the regulation, that is. And it's possible if this term limits thing gets bogged down, just have 2, we've done that before. But they want to, there are a lot of them out there want to address their own term limits rather than have risk. Oh, and there's a proposal in there that says that this is it on term limits. You can't change this now. You know, the legislature can't change this, or only the legislature.
That's what the Citizens Initiative is pushing, is that it can't be changed by the legislature.
So there's a lot yet to be worked out, but the story, to me, is that tort reform, once again, in a state and in a culture where it ought, you would think, to succeed, is going to be stymied again.
Or it could be resurrected at the last minute. You never know.
You never know.
All right. He's John Brummett with the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Always good to visit with you.
My pleasure.
All right. That's all for today's program. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Roby Brock. We will see you next time.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us. Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
I did.
You'll find us at the end of a lot of long country roads, covering over 60% of the great state of Arkansas. Our 17 electric distribution cooperatives are working day and night to provide reliable, affordable power to over 500,000 homes, farms, and businesses, just like yours. The Electric Cooperatives of Arkansas, your local energy partners.